So our next segment is honestly my favorite. Even though we're literally here to read a romance novel and talk about it, this part is one of my favorite parts of the night. I was supposed to do this tonight, and earlier tonight I texted Ray and I said, fuck, I just realized that it was my turn. I got it, don't worry. So I'll have the next two. Anyway, this segment we affectionately call S.O.S, which stands for Sentient Object Smut. These are usually just short little novellas or little novelettes. Sometimes they're like 40, 50 pages. Sometimes they're less than that. And we just, we found that there are a lot of them. And we wanted to work our way through a bunch of them. And, they are published so quickly, we cannot get through them fast enough, really. So
right.
I'm fine with that. Cannot get enough. So anyway, it is Ray's turn. Again, hang on, Ray, will you please tell me what you have selected for
Absolutely. So there were so many to choose from, and I'm going through the list that Vera Valentine has lovingly put together. Not even just like hers are on there, but then there's plenty of others. I chose My Date with a Pair of Grey Sweatpants by Cassi O, Peia, and Dakota Cockaday. I will tell you, I have read a number of Dakota Cockaday's stuff. I like her stuff, and I also like to say her name. So,
yeah, of course, duh.
There you go. This is like 55 pages. This is a very long summary, so I'm not going to read it. But I will say there are sex scenes in here, but it's more of a romance than it is an actual smut this time. So we have, and it's different. There's, it is literally a man who is attached to a pair of pants, but he's kind of like, you think he's a ghost. So you have Caitlin. She goes to a thrift store. It's called Thrift Store. And she and her friend go, and they she eats a bunch of she overindulges in cheese. Let's just say she eats a lot of Italian food, a big cheese pizza, and she is like, I need to put on these sweatpants that I literally just bought from the thrift store. Did not watch them. I'm like, okay, Caitlin, I'm going to have some issues with this first. But as she was buying... Best practice. And I guess the thrift store just sells bags of clothes. So you can just go up and pick a bag and just pay for it. And as she's buying this, the guy behind the counter is like, yeah, have fun. And she's like, well, that was weird. And so she gets home and she thinks that she's hoping that she's not... definitely thought, she definitely intimates that she's gonna have to go home because she's probably gonna have diarrhea because of all the lactose that she's eaten, or have some gastrointestinal issues. Okay. So she goes home and puts those sweatpants right on because that's what she wants. Those gray sweatpants, she goes to bed with them on. She wakes up pretty much with a man in her bed, but it's not her bed. It's a wood-paneled room, twin bed, and it looks to be frozen in time in 1987, October, in fact, in 1987. And a man is in bed with her, and he starts romancing her, not even romancing. He starts touching her boobs and kissing on her. It's so steamy, it's hot, and it's a man. It's not it is a man.
It's not a pair of sweatpants in the shape of a man, it's a man.
No.
Okay.
And she's completely nude. So they proceed to fucking do it, and then
wow, all right.
He says to her, I love you, Caitlin. He's like, are you okay? And he gets up to turn the light, and he's like, holy shit, you're not Caitlin. And she's like, well, I am a Caitlin, just not your Caitlin. I don't know where I'm at. And he's, they come to find out that she's in 1987. She traveled back in time. And she's like, I need some clothes. Just throw me something. And so he throws her that pair of gray sweatpants.
Ah.
She suddenly then is transported back to her room when she puts them on in 2025. She figures it's just a bad dream. She has another, the next week, she has another night where she didn't learn the first time. Well, actually, I will say there's a trigger warning. I did not read this, and I love the author for doing this, is that a dog passes away. They end up having to put a dog down. But,
no.
It's Doug's old. Like, it was like his, like, they make his last day great. I didn't read those chapters, and the way she put it, she's like, if you do not want to read this, skip to the next box that looks like this. So I was like,
oh, that's nice.
10 out of 10. You're amazing. Because I'm like, I don't need to read this, but just to know that she was like not in the best emotional state, so then she decided to just overindulge in Luigi's again. I laughed because it was Luigi's.
I love that.
Yep. And so again, she's putting on her sweatpants. I'm hoping at this point she's washed them. And same thing happens. She wakes up and she's like, what the fuck? They're definitely starting to have sex again. And she's like, you know that I'm not your Caitlin. He's like, it's kind of like, but, you know. And so
it was good last time.
Yeah, right? And then she realizes that, like, his name is Matthew, and he come home because he and his fiancée, well, yeah, he had just asked her to be his fiancée, or he was going to ask her, but he wanted to introduce her to his mother. And so they were home in his mother's house for the weekend to, you know, for mom to meet his Caitlin.
Wow.
And
so they were fucking in her mom's house? In his mom's house?
Oh,
okay.
Caitlin was staying down the hallway. Well, soon after, again, our Caitlin, is naked again. And so she's like, throw me some clothes. He throws her the same clothes. So same shirt, same gray sweatpants. This time, though, Mom breaks in to the door and starts freaking out. Mom is a witch, like pretty much a witch. So like
a witch.
She's a witch. His father's ring, where she says something along the lines, well, if you're gonna, you know, if you want to get engaged, you should at least be, you know, I don't really remember exactly why. I'm looking through my notes here. Why she, you know, wants him to be cursed, but she pretty much, what she does is she gives him this, this ring, his father's ring, and pretty much says, I bind you. And so he's bound then to those gray sweatpants.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So,
Mom of the Year.
Right. In fact, the chapters are hysterical. This one is in which Matthew is the pants. So she's like, I gotta try to get him broken from the spell. And come to find out, like, she goes back to the thrift store for answers because she's like, that dude who checked me out knew this was going to happen. So she goes back. Yeah. He knew. So she goes back and she's like, what the fuck is happening? And he's like, all right, well, my manager knows about this. So she's like talking to the woman back in the back, and she's like, just so you know, you can break his curse. Does not mean he's going to stay with you. You might get him to the future or whatever, and he might leave you. So don't think that you're going to be his like savior in here. And so she's like not falling for. She's like, I'm not going to fall for him. I want him to like not be cursed and be broken from this.
Yeah.
So she puts the sweatpants on again, and she gets there, and Matthew's like, you're pretty much like, I don't care. You are the right Caitlin. And she's like, well, what has been happening? He's like, I have not been able to get out of this room since you left. And I've been bound to this room for, for this time. And Caitlin's already gone.
Like 1987, Caitlin is gone.
Yes, Caitlin's gone. So what the lady at the thrift store says to her is pretty much like, you have to be like, he has to be in you when you say, I unbind thee to the ring. And that will take you both in time, in time. Because, like, that'll take you to 2025. Because he's in you. He's literally in you. And that will be enough.
Quite literally bound together.
Huh? So.
Okay.
Yeah, Mom's a biatch. And,
yeah, obviously.
Right. And so she gets back in time, and they start fooling around, and she's like, okay, as he's in her, she's like, I unbind you. And Mom breaks in, Mom breaks in right before that, and she's like, you fucking blah, 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 blah. And she says, I unbind you. And they both disappear to 2025. And what I loved about this, so...
This is very imaginative.
It is.
Right?
Yes. So, okay, two things. Weird things happen all the time. Let's say, for argument's sake, Matthew wasn't turned into pants, but he was killed by his mom on that day in 1987. Maybe the pants have somehow kept that event, and you're just a witness, like a residual haunting. A residual haunting of pants? This is like her friend Dale, who she's explaining it to, and he's like, he's actually very much like, well, girl, like, sort of thing. And
you let's see.
Okay, so while she gets back in time, he is a pair of pants. So at this point, he has been bound to the pants. He looks like a pair of pants, which is the sentient object part of this.
Gotcha.
His entire body is the gray of the sweatpants. Along the top of his forehead is what looked to be a scrunched up pattern of a waistband. Here and there, bunched fabric creates lines down his face. It's like the fabric of the pants have been stretched into the shape of Matthew. Strangely enough, it's kind of hot. He's still wearing the sweatpants, and they sit low on his hips. So he looks like sweatpants, but he's also wearing sweatpants. So I can't help but stare as he stands with his back to me, lifting the blind so he can see outside. There's something incredibly sexy about a man's shoulders and arms. And then, so yes, that's kind of where it is. And then Matthew is the pants. And so they get back into time and to 2025. And what I liked about the ending at this book, I would recommend this. It was delightful. And FYI, this is one of two. He has a twin, Michael, who mom did the same thing to. So they've got, the next book is trying to figure out what happened to Michael. He's a t-shirt, FYI.
Wow. He's a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. So here we go. This is what I really liked about this, because I ask this all the fucking time. One, why doesn't anybody call the police? And two, here's the thing. It's like, what happens when these things come to life and they're like a human afterwards?
Right.
So he is now a human in 2025. As she says something like, yeah, not everybody likes boomers anymore, so we'll get around that. Like, because he's, he looks like Matthew in 1987, but he is the age, but he should be. Like, right. So after a couple trips to thrift store for some clothes and shoes, he disappears the next morning and comes back that night, having found a job loading stuff off the docks, until he can figure out things like IDs and social security numbers. It's a completely different environment from the one he left behind in 1987. He had been working on tenure at a university, but he takes it in stride, saying it's good to use his body. They pay him daily, and I start to find cash in my purse every morning. The way she then starts to, they start to coexist together, it's not romantic. Oh, it is romantic. He's in love with her, but she's like, yeah, she's got in her mind he's not gonna stay, because his lady was like, don't, just because he comes back with you does not mean he's gonna stay. So they fall into a routine of like cooking for each other, but they're not romantic. Like, they don't have sex again until Valentine's Day, where he comes in and he's like, I'm in love with you. It's very sweet, but I would totally recommend it. It was like, it's not, there are sex scenes, but to me it's more about the, like, I like the magic of it. It's so freaking, like you said, it was very inventive, very creative. I liked that they answered some fucking questions that we always are kind of like, well, what happens afterwards? Like,
what happens? How does this person get an identity?
Right.
How can he live like a normal person?
Right, like the lamp one, that guy turned into a guy afterwards. I'm like, but he doesn't have a social security number. Like, how is he going to get a job?
Door, like, they become like people. Yeah,
right.
I mean,
yeah. So this, I like that she's like, well, let me explain. So, again, 55 pages goes like this. I mean, I read it in 45 minutes, not even. So I would say 100% recommend.
All right, I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
That sounds fun.
I didn't read any of the sex scenes because it's literally just a sex scene. There's nothing like, it's not a French horn getting shoved up somebody's noo-noo. So, like, again, yeah, just
That's one that I will never, ever be able to forget. The front door.
It's the pickle one for me. Yeah.
We've read some weird shit.